you started building this company 6 years ago. And back then, since that time, Oculus and all these headsets have become a lot more mainstream. But back then, it was not nearly as popular.
Yep.
How did you get the idea to create Immersed, and where did this idea really originate?
Yeah, I mean, it really came down to me trying to solve a problem for myself. So I will say I didn't look at VR as something I wanted to be part of. I looked at my problem of, well, I guess I'll start from the root. So back in 2017, when I first started this, I was just literally sitting down and brainstorming, okay, what sort of problems can I solve? And I remember listening to a Y Combinator talk on YouTube or something, talking about how if you're able to solve a problem for yourself, you're not going to have the problem of trying to guess what your users want, right? So say, for example, you as a 25-year-old or 22-year-old were building some sort of insurance compliance something product. Well, you're gonna have to interview a ton of people in that world to know how to provide them a solution they want to pay for. But if you're building just a product that you want yourself, you don't have to ask any questions. You're building the thing. And so for me, I knew that every software development team I'd ever been on or had led in the past, more and more people were starting to work from home, even though this is 3 years before COVID. But especially in the coding world, I remember I had like an aunt and uncle who like they both had work from home jobs, and like my extended family was like, oh, that's so cool. How the heck can they do that? Because it was unheard of for one person to even work from home, let alone two of them in the same household. And so the fact that in the technology world, as a coder, as a system admin or whatever it is, you could start doing that kind of from home because of things like GitHub and Slack and whatever else. And back then Skype, there were ways that I could see that more and more people would start adopting this. So, say maybe in 2014, I had like one coworker who would work from home. And then 2015, I had like two coworkers. And then the next year, like three. It showed me though it was like a slow ramp up. It's eventually going to be a bigger and bigger problem in the future. If I can get ahead of this now, I'll be ready for when that thing hits. And little did I know, COVID would hit and the whole world would work from home, which was crazy. So I will say that like that was beyond my control, but I knew that this was an inevitable problem. And so when I was thinking about, okay, well, if everyone's going to be working from home, the state of the art cannot be, this is me saying this in 2017, and this is true even back then, the state of the art of remote work cannot be video conferencing and chat. Today, that's kind of what we still do. And in 2017, it felt like, dude, we've been doing this for 20 years. Fast forward to today, okay, we've been doing it for 26 years now or whatever it is, right? And so I knew that, like, I've heard about this thing called virtual reality. You can put on a headset and you feel like you're in another place. Maybe there's a world in which we can kind of like connect people who are remote into the same space. I never even tried it. So I just literally went to the internet and I Googled a Google Cardboard. Like I was like, what's the cheapest headset I can get? It's like $20 piece of cardboard with 2 plastic lenses in it. You put your phone in it and now you're in VR. Obviously it's not very ergonomic. It's a very crappy experience, but it helped me build the proof of concept. And when I put this blurry thing on, I was like, okay, I can envision this being a lot better. And then I heard about how Google has this thing called Daydream, which they wound down. And then Facebook acquired this company called Oculus, which I was already 3 years late to. So the story of that is in 2012, Palmer Luckey founded Oculus. 2 years later, he sold it to Facebook for $2 or $3 billion. And then 2014, 15, and 16, everyone and their mom wanted to create a VR app that can then ride that wave. And little did I know, I would enter the VR space 2017 after all these tech startups in the VR space failed. And so there's no VC money left for me because I came way too late. I came in the sort of trough of disillusionment. And so I knew though, at some point, this is going to be a big problem. Let me just start working on this thing now. The more you focus on building a product for yourself, the easier it is to actually want to stay motivated, and the easier it is to build a good product that other people who, hopefully you're not too like edge case of a person. Hopefully you're like semi-normal-ish, but you can't go wrong in thinking that there might be at least one or two other people on the planet who are similar to you and have the same type of needs.